Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Lily. This is Lily's Shelf, and today we are talking about Love Island USA Season 7, Episode 24. So guys, these episodes are coming out way too fast. I thought I would be able to do like an episodic review, but I think instead I'm just gonna do these later episodes and really like hit the highlights of what's been going on. So episode 24 picks up immediately after that dumb recoupling that we had, where Taylor decides to stay true to his gut and pick Clark, who is up in there, giggling, laughing, like, girl, not you acting like a pick-me, but whatever. So Olandria is devastated, but I'm honestly kind of glad that Taylor chose to recouple with Clark, because he was wasting Olandria's time, and he wasn't man enough to say that he was wasting Olandria's time to her face. He was comfortable saying that he wasn't attracted to her, to Ace and other people, but when it came to Olandria herself, no, it was always, well, I'm a slow burn, well, I'm this, well, I think, we've got a really good friendship going and all this other stuff. But as soon as Clark got into the villa, because Clark and the other girls had come from Casa Amor, so like the OG girls went to Casa Amor, brand new bombshells came into the villa. Clark was one of the bombshells that came in. Taylor ended up being paired up with Coco, who he said was Olandria in another body. And it's crazy that Clark and Coco were both standing on his heart, but he chose to go with Coco. And I'm like, did he choose Coco because he didn't want to seem like girls like Coco, girls like Olandria are clearly not his type, and so he coupled up with her just to waste her time? Because as soon as he coupled up with Coco, he was still all up in Clark's face. Like, he wasn't really talking to Coco. Coco had to go and start talking to Ace, start exploring her other connections, because Taylor was paying her dust. He was giving her nothing. But so episode 24, we pick up from the recoupling where Amaya has finally found her somebody new. Nick and PEPE had to fight to keep Olandria in the villa again because Taylor and Clark wanted to vote her out. Also, episode 24 is off of the heels of us NicOlandria fans. We finally got our date, but I truly feel like Olandria does not believe that Nick is actually into her, because in the previous episodes, Nick was very engaged. His body language was very engaged. Whenever he talked to Olandria, he was always making sure that she was good. She said she was cold. One time, Nick did not hesitate to take the shirt off his back to give to my girl. And she still can't comprehend, whatever. So Olandria says, I think that we should just be friends. Nick says, yeah, sure, I totally agree. He totally does not. That's not what he wanted at all, but that's how the cookie crumbled. So Nick and Sierra are back together. A couple of the other couples are back together. Ace and Shelly, unfortunately, are back together. I think Shelly had a stronger connection with Chris, who was one of the Casa Amor boys. He did end up being in the villa. He's currently coupled up with Huda, which I think is kind of shady, because Huda had approached Shelly and said, I don't have any options besides Chris, because she was talking to, I think, JD, but he was weird. So nobody wanted JD. He was weird. So Huda had approached Shelly on some, let me basically have Chris. That was the energy she was coming with. And Shelly, being nice, was like, well, I do have Ace. If Huda has Chris, maybe I can still explore Chris. That's what I think she was thinking, but she did let Huda basically have Chris. They did couple up. So now they're all coupled up in the villa. Shelly is still going to explore Chris, and now Ace feels a way about that, which is crazy because he was the main one chasing after the new bombshells. When Amaya was the new bombshell, he was running after her. When Iris was the new bombshell, he was exploring his connections. He low-key wanted to explore Huda, but she was close up with Jeremiah until, they had their falling out. So it's like, oh, so it's a double standard, because Shelly was patient. Ace was out here playing in everybody's face. He was still doing nice gestures, but he made it clear, I'm still exploring. I'm very much still open. I'm very much Dora the Explorer. Like, I'll come home when I want to, basically. And he expected Shelly to wait. And Shelly did wait because at the time, what options did she really have? Austin? Please. Please. I will put Shelly with Ace every time if her choices are between Ace and Austin. Please. But when Chris is in the picture, so now Shelly has an actual viable option. Chris and Shelly make a very cute couple. But now Ace wants to feel away because she wants to continue exploring her connections. Now he feels frustrated. Now he feels away. Oh, you mean like Shelly felt away when you were exploring your options? Okay, Ace. Okay. So then the highlight of this episode was the heart rate challenge. Everybody did a good job. I do think it was crazy that Sierra told Nick she didn't really want him kissing other girls. And so he said, that's fine. I just don't want you to do too much with Ellen. I think it's Elon. Maybe it's, I don't know. With E. Okay, we're going to call him E. They don't want him, or he didn't want her to do too much with E. She still kind of did, but we'll get into that. So, they agree on that. Olandria and E, because they're the only single ones in the villa, they make a plan to basically go after everybody. Olandria in this episode also says that she wants to close the chapter of her and Taylor, which is like, girl, thank goodness. Because again, that man was wasting her time. Side note, this is why I always encourage people to read romance novels, because romance novels, while they are fiction, right? But they do open you up to different possibilities. I feel like Olandria does not realize just how beautiful she is. We know, and she knows that she is beautiful, she's gorgeous, but I don't think she realizes the appeal that she has to other men. Like, Taylor is the anomaly, Taylor's the exception, not the rule. Like, Nick is feeling her. The way PEPE was looking at her in this episode, he was feeling her. Low-key E might feel her. And Casa Amor, Zach felt her. And not just her beauty, but her brains too. He said he chose to couple up with her because of the speech that she gave, and he likes her personality. The more they talked, he liked her. The only reason he chose Amaya was because he had said to the other guys, Olandria is a slow burn, and we don't really have slow burn time. He's trying to stay alive. Basically, in Casa Amor, he wants to go. He wants to stay. He doesn't want to go home. And so he chose Amaya. Amaya and Zach now are super cute, but if Olandria had not even been more physical, but if she had given him more signs that she was open to exploring, I feel like Zach would have stayed coupled up with Olandria. The men love Olandria. She is just going to the wrong ones. She just keeps going to the wrong ones. Because even in this episode, during the heart rate challenge, so the goal is for the couple to raise, the most hearts. So everybody goes. When Olandria and E go, Olandria does pull every guy, and then I wish she would have skipped Taylor, but she does pull him. It's revealed later on in the episode that she was the one that raised his heart rate the most. Clark did feel like she was doing a little bit too much, but like Olandria said in her confessional, she's single, so I don't think that really mattered. And plus, I'm not really feeling Clark, so I'm a little biased towards my girl Olandria. But let's talk about Huda, Chris, Ace, and Shelly. I feel like this episode revealed feelings, because I do think at one point Huda and Ace were feeling each other. I think because Huda had closed herself off so much with Jeremiah, she didn't allow herself to explore other options. But I feel like if she had explored, Ace would have been a choice of hers. Now remember, if y'all are caught up, okay, when Huda and Jeremiah were closed off, Huda was always setting boundaries on what the other girls could and couldn't do with Jeremiah. If they went too far, she always felt away. If they didn't do anything at all, she was always saying, oh, thank y'all respect me so much, we're really girls. And in this challenge, I do feel like Shelly was right and Huda did in fact do too much, because Chris and Huda pulled Shelly and Ace, because when it was their turn, that's who they pulled. So Chris and Shelly are, they getting down, and they finish long before They finished long before Ace and Huda. And the stuff that, like, Chris was putting his best foot forward, but he was keeping it respectful. Even when it was Ace and Shelly's turn, they were putting their best foot forward, trying to win the challenge, but they were still keeping it respectful. But when it was Huda's turn, and you keep saying that Shelly is your girl, that you love her and all this other stuff, you did go too far in the challenge when you told, when you doing what you did. Like, I don't know how to make that PG because it was very much rated R. Like it looked like rated R, fully clothed. Like, that was doing entirely too much. And you keep saying that Shelly is your girl, Shelly is this, Shelly is that. So Huda was definitely in the wrong. And so, Huda peeps, because Shelly can't control her face. Like, Shelly is not happy at all once that challenge finally finishes, and Huda tries to, like, talk to her and, like, touch her a little bit, hold her hand, and Shelly's like, no, like, girl, we will talk later, please. And Ace has that stupid little smirk on his face. I wish I could just erase it. Like, and then it's revealed later on in the challenge that Huda is the one that raised Ace's heart rate the most. So that was like the nail in the coffin. So after the heart rate challenge is all the way over with, Taylor's heart rate did raise the most for Olandria. Olandria said that she just wanted to mess with his head a little bit. I wish she would just leave this man all the way alone. You are not his preference, clearly, because with you it was a slow burn. Clark was in here for a good 5-10 minutes and he was already doing more side hugs, more regular hugs, touching his hand on her knee. Like, he was already giving her more of that physical affection that you were looking for in 5 to 10 minutes of her being in the villa than, like, the weeks that y'all two were together. So no, like, honestly, at this point she could pursue Pepe, she could pursue Elan, maybe it's Elan. She could pursue Elan. Like, there are other options in the villa now. You leave Taylor alone. Leave Taylor and his tired cowboy hat alone. The episode ends with Shelly, Olandria, Sierra, and Iris talking, and Huda, Andrina, and Amaya talking. And I feel like Andrina and Amaya both kind of felt like Huda took it a little bit too far, but didn't know how to say that, because when Huda was like, did I take it too far? Like, it's just a challenge. Like, everybody keeps telling me it's just a challenge, but when I do something, all of a sudden, it's no longer just a challenge. And while I hear where she's coming from, in this instance, it's not the same. Because at this point, Ace and Shelly, for all of their faults, for all the ways they get on my nerves, they are a pretty strong connection. They are a pretty strong couple. And so you didn't have to do all that to win the challenge. Like, Sierra and Nick are a very strong couple, but you didn't, like, Sierra didn't do too much. She did just enough. And again, Huda is always the main one saying that Shelly is her girl. She loves her. She never wants to hurt her. And yet your actions clearly hurt her. Like, I feel like Huda knew as soon as she got up that she took it way too far. And so she's talking to Amaya and Andrina, asking if she took it too far. They both, Andrina doesn't really say much. She doesn't really say much. Amaya's like, how do you know that Shelly is pissed? Huda's like, I can see it on her face. And so Amaya's like, well, maybe just talk to her. I will say Amaya has grown on me these past couple of episodes. The more I see of Amaya, the more I'm like, you know what, girl, you kind of all right. So, they all get up, they walk off. Amaya and Huda are in the kitchen, but Andrina goes and talks to the rest of the girls, just kind of gives them like a rundown of how that conversation with Huda went. Shelly, again, is kind of emphasizing the point that it feels disingenuous because Huda will say one thing to her face, but then will act a different way. And I can see where she's coming from with that, but that's pretty much all I had. I know this was a short and sweet little recap, but let me know down in the comments how y'all felt about that whole situation and how y'all felt about the recoupling. I am really glad that Zach and Amaya found each other. I also thought it was ironic that Amaya raised Austin's heart rate the most after all the smack that Austin was talking. very interesting. But thank you so much for watching. I really, really appreciate it. And I will see y'all in the next one. Bye, guys.